hearing about issues that wouldn't have been there if we didn't have problems with the role. So we decided after that, hey, let's try to like chisel these roles a little bit better and bring someone in who we felt like can vibe well with us.
Cloud9 came out of a series of roster shuffles with iBuyPower's Skadoodle and a relatively unknown Freakazoid on the team.
Unknown, man.
Ska and
Fuck
Freakazoid
you.
were they fell into place alongside Shroud,
This bitch
Sean
didn't know
Ayers,
about
and
me,
Nothing,
dog.
and filled the gaps the team had struggled with up to that
Look at this guy. You look like a geek.
Vibe
Why are
well
you
from the
announcing this
get-go,
shit,
and
geek?
We got
You're
the
unknown.
entry frag we wanted, which was now giving us the clear-cut roles of Sean track calling and supporting, me and Shroud kind of like playmakers off of the aggressive player who's now Ryan.
What the fuck are those glasses? I wear those things?
Goes big onto Nothing, but Skadoodle flicking onto one, gonna stop the bomb carrier with a double. Can he get the triple? He's looking for this peak, gets the flick out of Nitro.
He was
Can
so
he get the quad? He flicks down! Are you kidding me?
He was fast.
As April turned to May and May turned to June, the summer of 2015 in LA was getting hot as hell. Like 86 degrees in the shade hot. Beaches were busy, traffic was jammed, and the boys of Cloud9 wore tank tops. On paper, this roster shouldn't have worked, but this iteration of Cloud9 was a classic example of disparate personalities blending together into a recipe for success. You had Sean Ayers, the lovable IGL who'd been with Cloud9 since the very beginning. Nothing, whose upbeat personality matched his aggressive play. Shroud, the mechanically gifted Canadian kid. Freakazoid, the jacked entry fragger with a golden smile. And Skadoodle, whose abilities with the off were awe-inspiring.
How does that not make sense for roster roles? What are you talking about? Entry, Shroud followed, Ska was in the back, Jordan fucking lurked, and Sean was picking up whatever. That fucking works perfect. This guy's a bitch.
Really good mixture because everyone was evening each other out. We had like two quiet people in Skadoodle and Shroud, and we had two like loud people in Nothing and Freakazoid, and then I was kind of like the one that kind of kept the louder people in check and made the quieter people calm a little bit more. It always felt like the atmosphere was pretty good whenever we played matches or whenever we were practicing.
Despite the noise this talented roster generated without even playing a game, North American Counter-Strike was still more or less a joke. No team from the region had ever made it to the grand finals of a major, and NA's other top team, iBuyPower, had just been banned for match fixing. Despite the personalities clicking behind the scenes, things weren't so hot on the server. Cloud9 debuted to a group stage exit from Gfinity Spring Masters 2.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
The boys came back to California in need of a game plan. Cloud9 had a lot of talent, but they needed to figure out how the individual pieces fit together.
Dude, you know what the most fucked up shit is about this? I'm never gonna make an excuse for myself, but this is one of them I will make. Bro, I literally didn't play the game for 6 months. The first month I come back, I'm playing fucking Virtus Pro when they're top 3 in the world, and I get raped. So no shit, I played like shit at that LAN. That was fucked up.
We started practicing a lot, and basically
Literally
we
didn't
went
play
into
for 6 months.
I think we played like 60 matches in something like 30 days. It was incredible, the amount of matches we played. And our record in those 60 matches, we won like 90% of them. And yeah, you could say like North America wasn't great at the time, but it was also a ridiculous run. We were the clear-cut #1 team in North America.
Around the same time that the boys of summer were coming together as a team, CSGO was exploding in popularity.
Yeah.
It was the perfect storm. But heading into the ESL Pro League Season 1 finals, Cloud9 were faced with some of the toughest competition CS had to offer. Oh yeah, the LA Heatwave followed them to the Pro League finals. Germany was experiencing one of the hottest summers in recent memory.
We are absolutely roasting. You saw Semler's
It was so hot. That's what brought up the tanks, bro. I'm like, bro, I can't handle this anymore.
Ice cream. It's about 38
I remember that
degrees
shit.
right now.
I was like, dude, I'm wearing a tank 100%.
Is this record heat for Germany?
It is, yeah.
It's not ESL's fault. I mean, they have AC vents, and we're just sitting here like water on our faces. Everyone's commenting on my armpit hair.
Can you hook the desk up with some Cloud9 vests? I think that's some new attire. If you guys
we probably have to ship them to you, man, because you probably don't want these. Mine smells like a word I can't say right now.
Luckily, the boys in blue still had their tank tops handy. After dominating the group stage, C9 proceeded to wreck Team Envious in the quarterfinals, and then did the same to CLG in the semis.
Sit the fuck down! Let's go, boys! Where are you at? How's that team house be treating you? You're going home soon!
covered off, does get flashed out, doesn't get vision. Finesse manages to come through, gets himself a second, but Skadoodle is there, a goose to cover them off. Finesse, the last man standing, the in-game leader. Can he do it for Cloud9, or will they be in the final? Just one last play. GG, well played coming out already. It's Skadoodle that finishes it. And Cloud9 will move to the final in a simple 2-0 in the end over CLG.
The finals saw them face
I was
off
chewing
against
gum
the
for everybody.
undisputed number
Hey,
one team
remember
in
this.
the
Hold on.
world.
Just so you guys know, I wasn't as good as everybody that chews gum, but I'm chewing gum like a motherfucker out here.
The finals
I chew
saw
gum
them face
first.
off against the
I set all the
undisputed
trends,
number one
bro.
team in the world.
I set the knuckle trend, I set the tank tops, and the gum chewing. You're welcome.
This has just been a massacre in the end on Cash, which was Cloud9's map choice. Oh, they're going to try and push on through. They've already got the turret set up here. Olaf must have got all the information he needed. That grenade being tossed out will do some damage. But this
Dude,
is
we
just
should have won
Fnatic
so many
closing
tournaments,
out
dude.
She's going to put up a very good grenade here. They're going to walk right into it. The follow-up Molotov to burn up a little bit more damage, and Sean goes down. There's JW with the kill. It's looking great for Fnatic. They've done it time and
should have won
again.
this
2
map
major
and Overpass,
championships,
bro.
And here it is. They are your victors here at ESL ESCA Pro League Season 1.
Should have won both those maps. We
That
lost
loss
a
against
2v5
Fnatic
too.
kind of stunk because it felt like we should have won. Like we had so much momentum, you know. We had all of the crowd. It felt like we had everyone behind us, you know. Like even though we were in Europe, it felt like people loved us for some reason, even though we hadn't really shown anything yet. We were just such an underdog story at that event. When we lost to them, yeah, it definitely stung a little bit, you know, like, but Fnatic at the time was so dominant. So to play them that close was definitely like something that we were really happy about at the time, I remember.
Cloud9 went home with their heads held high and looked to continue their hot streak in yet another heat wave, this time at ESWC Montreal.
After this heat in Cologne from last week, like this is a breeze, right? It's just heaven. All of a sudden it's like, it's only 25 degrees.
Despite long delays caused by overheated servers, they cruised through the tournament and booked yet another trip to the finals, where they fell to a surging Na'Vi.
Well, we'll see. They are pushing up, and he just goes for it aggressively.
Dude, we lost a
Straight down
2v5
through,
here.
And that's huge. Well played.
Or
Sean
2v4.
sees they're going to be able to take him down, but then Flamey returns with a double of its own. It's a 2v2, and Flamey gets a triple kill. And now it's all on Shroud here. 17 seconds, and he goes for the fight. He goes down, and Na'Vi are going to win it 16-14. And you can tell the impact on Cloud9 there. Oh, wow.
Battered but not broken, Cloud9 boarded a plane to Spain 6 days later for the FACEIT Stage 2 finals. For the third time that summer, Cloud9 destroyed the group stage before beating Fnatic 2-0 and setting up a showdown in the finals against Team Solo Mid.
This could play very heavily into this retake.
Exactly right.
We should have won this map
Nothing gets
too.
forced out into the open. Great use of incendiary so far by
no.
TSM, but a good shot there by Shroud to take Dupree off of the high, off of heaven, and then Zipnik's falling as well. Shroud, huge round from the man in question, the man on your screen right there. But now roasting alive Skadoodle. He's running out of HP, but he gets the 1-for-1 trade anyway. And now they line up, but it's not going to be good enough. And TSM go crashing onto the A site. They eliminate the defense, and it's down to Sean Gares. 1v4. Can't see TSM making the mistake. The fight does not miss, and TSM will pick up the first map.
Oh my god, what a game.
Cloud9 were faced with their third chance to win a tournament in 3 months.
It's all about keeping their cool at this point. There it is. Nothing
I
trying to
remember
spring the
this, you got
trap. He's not
ripped.
going to get it done. Shroud, now the last man alive. He will get collapsed on by the remaining players for TSM. And now life gets pretty difficult for him. He's got the 5-7, but he bungles
Shroud's
the
hella
smoke
good
as
at
well.
clutching on
They
Seaside.
don't need to give this to him. There's one peek
He's
by Cajun,
stationary.
but now
3 times they made the finals and 3 times they failed. Cloud9 ended the summer as perennial runners-up, and the winds of change were blowing.
We were in a very hard spot, right? Because we had that tournament and then we had to go home for like a little bit after a 6-week run in Europe, or like all pretty much, I guess, Europe to Montreal, back to Europe. And then we had like a few weeks, if I remember
We're
correctly,
so
to
tired.
prepare for the major. But we boot camped in Cologne for like a week or 2. So like everyone was just so drained at this point.
We were so
At
tired.
the time, if you were a top-tier team in Counter-Strike, this crazy schedule was considered the norm. Burnout was and still is real, and no matter how tight-knit you are as friends and teammates, eventually, something's gotta give. And eventually, something did.
Shroud and Freakazoid, the last 2 alive here.
Shroud trying to get something done here, but the smoke blocking them off in Upper Dark. This is burning valuable time. They don't have a kit on Cloud9. They have to hit the shots of their lifetimes, but it's not going to happen. Mike Later takes out one. Freakazoid there to take out Dennis, but it is not meant to be. 16-13, and Team Kingwin will be moving on into the playoffs. They have now become a legendary team. Cloud9 denied.
We would have won that fucking shit, I feel like, too.
ESL1 Cologne, tying for 9th and ending their final streak.
Oh my god.
We always felt like we didn't quite get where we want to. Like, even when we've talked about it to this day from that summer, like, we just were, like, each final we were, like, some aspect away from, like, feeling in control of it. We had more potential than we showed, even with all those, like, second places. And our team had a pretty special group of guys. Dude,
that we would have been so good if we kept playing. We literally were like so good for a fucking after a month.
We were definitely excited to play together, and
we literally could have been so good.
Unfortunately, towards the end, we did lose a little bit of that excitement. I think that was part of why our performances started getting flatter. But overall, we definitely, even now, some days we talk about, like, dang, we had a lot more potential. We didn't fully manifest.
As summer turned to fall and the weather began to cool, Cloud9 continued to wither. First, Chongair stepped down as IGL and eventually left the team in November. Shroud retired to pursue a career in streaming, Freakazoid left for Echo Fox, and Nothing took over as IGL for a while, but eventually, even he left. Only Skadoodle stuck with Cloud9, and suffered even more hardships before eventually paying it all off by winning NA's first major.
As Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9
that was sick.
Are your E-League major champions! They weren't the favorites, they were the underdogs, they were a heavy underdog, but they did it for North America. Skadoodles won the major!
If the Boston Major was the pinnacle of Cloud9's presence in CSGO, these 5 friends laid the groundwork years earlier. If they had won even a single championship, we'd be remembering them for their incredible run, for their in-game accomplishments. But instead, we remember this team through a wider lens, through their goofy antics and the weird way the summer heat can bring us together.
He's got for you. Ooh, fuck yeah, bud.
when you got an airport shuttle showing up, but the cookies ain't ready
yet. Jordan just swallowed his Skittle. He was sleeping.
We remember them for showing us that North America was capable of competing with the best, long before we really deserved a spot on the international stage. But most of all, we remember them because we celebrate more than just results. Because sometimes, the attempt is just as beautiful as the dream.
Alright, you made up for it, but it's
Thanks
so
for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification
I'm just kidding,
bell.
it's a joke, bro.
For unique...
I ain't lying. Team could have been hella good. If I was like us now as human beings, like more evolved, like our brains in that moment there, we would have won more.
Guys, let's face it. It's pretty rare when your team...
Fuck you. Ah, damn. Would have been a nuts ass team though.